Hey y'all, it's Kinsey here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a very different video than what I usually do. So if you guys have been to my channel before, you know that I usually do makeup videos, but this video is going to be a book video because that is my other favorite hobby at the moment. I have gotten so into reading in the last couple months, and yeah, I just thought that maybe I should share it with you guys just because I love watching book videos. They're currently my favorite thing to watch on YouTube. We're in a different location today, if you guys couldn't tell. These are all of my books that I currently have. I don't have a huge collection yet, but I hope I do someday because I love reading now. But yeah, so if you guys want to see what books I read in February, then keep watching. So I read 8 plus 1 book in February. I say plus 1 because I finished it this morning, which is March 1st, but I read literally almost all of it last night, so I figured I would just include it because it basically was read in February. But I'm going to start with the book I read first, and then I'm going to end with the last book I read this month. So let's get going. Here is my stack of books that I read. So the first book that I read this month was The Legacy by Elle Kennedy. I love this book. This book is part of the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. It has 4 books originally, and this is the last book. It's the 5th book. It is basically a summary of all the other 4 books. The 4 books are about different couples, each different couple, and then this book is basically where the couples are now, if that makes sense. I'm going to read you the back because it doesn't really spoil anything from the book, and I know if I talk about this book at all, it's going to spoil something. So I'm just going to read the back. It says 4 stories, 4 couples, 3 years of real life after graduation, a wedding, a proposal, an elopement, and a surprise pregnancy. Can you guess which couple is which? I rated this 4 out of 5 stars just because I felt like I needed more from this book. Like, I was so excited because I love the other books in the Off-Campus series. Like, they're all 5 stars. But then this one is 4-star because I felt like I needed more from each couple. Like, it would start something and it would, like, cut to, like, another couple. Or, like, I don't know. I just felt like I wasn't getting enough out of this book. But I also had really high expectations, so that could possibly be why. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. Really recommend this book. I recommend the entire Off-Campus series if you like romance. It's a hockey romance series. So good. The next book I read in February was Hopeless by Colleen Hoover, and let me tell you, this book wrecked me. It's so good. This book is one of my favorite books now that I've read. Mind you, I haven't read a ton of books yet, but this book is amazing. I cried like a baby reading this book. If you like emotional romance, read this book. It has so many plot twists. I was not expecting it at all. I think I am going to read the back, then I'll kind of summarize a little bit. Skye, a senior in high school, meets Dean Holder, a guy with a promiscuous reputation that rivals her own. From their very first encounter, he terrifies and captivates her. Something about him sparks memories of her deeply troubled past, a time she's tried so hard to bury. Though Skye is determined to stay far away from him, his unwavering pursuit and enigmatic smile break down her defenses, and the intensity of the bond between them grows. But the mysterious Holder has been keeping secrets of his own, and once they are revealed, Skye is changed forever, and her ability to trust may be a casualty of the truth. Only by courageously facing the stark revelations can Skye and Holder hope to heal their emotional scars and find a way to live and love without boundary. It's so good. So it's about, obviously, Skye and Holder. His name's Dean Holder, but he goes by Holder. Her name's Skye. He basically, something happens in his past that basically destroys him, and he doesn't want to talk about it. And she's homeschooled, and then he finds her in a grocery store, thinks he knows her. They fall in love. Plot twist happens. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to ruin this book because it's so good. But please read this book. Read it. It's so good. Okay, so the next book I read, I definitely wanted to do more of a light read because Hopeless broke me. But I read The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This book is so good as well. This book is about Olive and Adam Carlson. Olive is a third-year PhD student in the STEM program, and Adam Carlson is a professor at her college. Olive's friend wants to date Olive's ex-boyfriend, and she's like, I couldn't do that to you because, you know, her ex-boyfriend. So Olive goes out of her way to prove to her friend that she does not care and she's over this guy. So she decides to tell her friend she's going on a date with the guy, and she ends up actually going to the lab to work. And then her friend shows up at the lab, so Olive just kisses the first guy that she sees in the hallway, and that is Dr. Adam Carlson. And he's known to kind of be, he's really stuck up. None of the students like him and all this other stuff. But so she gets into a fake dating relationship with Dr. Adam Carlson, and then I'm guessing you can get the rest of the book. But this book, I think I gave 4 out of 5 just because it was good, but I don't know. It just felt like a 4. It didn't feel like a 5. Like a 5 out of 5 would be something like Hopeless, where I'm like in shock of how good it is. This one was really, really good, so that's why I got a 4 out of 5. So the next book that I read was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This book was so hyped up on TikTok, and everyone was like, this is my new favorite book. So good, 5 million stars out of 5. I read it, and I didn't like it that much. I gave it a 4.5 stars out of 5. Honestly, should bump it down to a 4-star. Please don't hate me if you're a lover of this book. But I personally I'm not a big fan of fantasy type books, and I feel like this is kind of fantasy. This is about Achilles and Patroclus. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. But Achilles is like super strong. I don't even know, honestly. This book was really good, but it was kind of hard for me to read just because I'm not really into Greek mythology. Like, I am into Greek mythology, but not books like this. I prefer like a normal rom-com or something like this. But I don't know. I expected to cry my eyes out because everyone said they cried so hard. And I was like, I teared up a little, but I kind of knew what was going to happen. The way that it was written was beautiful. Like, her writing was very good. I don't know. It didn't wow me like I expected it to from TikTok. And yeah. This was 4.5 out of 5. Probably going to bump it down to a 4. But if you're into Greek mythology and you like romance, right here, this book is good. So, there you go. This next book has me... my heart. Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I think I like this better than Hopeless. I'm not gonna lie. I loved this book. It's so good. Oh my gosh, like this book is about Tate and Miles, and Tate moves in with her brother, and guess who lives across the hall from her brother? Miles Archer. Well, Miles and her brother are best friends. They're both pilots. Tate is there for college, I believe, and she meets Miles the first day she shows up to the house, and he's drunk on the front step. The only thing that he says Rachel, and we're wondering, like, who's Rachel? What? Well, Miles has a past that he does not want to talk about at all with Tate, and he doesn't want to fall in love again. He doesn't want a relationship. So he tells Tate, he's like, if we're going to do this, don't ask about my past and don't expect a future. So they basically just get in a relationship, and those are his rules. Don't expect a future, don't ask about my past. This book has my heart right now. It's so good. Like, I cried like a baby, even more than I cried in Hopeless, not gonna lie. It's dual POV, so you get Miles' POV and you get Tate. Miles' POV is about his past, so you get like what happened in his past in his POV, plus you also get like Tate's POV of the future and the relationship. So it's super good. The cover of this book, look how beautiful. This has a significance in the book, and whenever you realize the significance, you're probably gonna cry. I'm just saying. Probably gonna cry like I did, like a big baby. Let's read the first sentence of this book because it's funny. Somebody stabbed you in the neck, young lady. That's the first sentence of the book. Just go read this, please. 5 out of 5, 500 out of 5. Go read this. After Ugly Love, I needed another, like, chill, not chill, but, like, not so deep romance. And I was like, Punk 57 sounds pretty good. Doesn't sound like a super emotional romance. Boy, was I wrong. This isn't like super like, oh my god, you're gonna cry, but this book is good. I got this a 4 out of 5, but I'm gonna bump it up to a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So this book is about Misha and Ryan, and they get paired up as pen pals whenever they're in 5th grade, I want to say. Yes, 5th grade. And so their names sound like the opposite sex. So like Misha sounds like a girl name, but it's actually a guy. Ryan sounds like a guy name, but it's actually a girl. So their teachers, thinking that they're the same gender, so like female, female, male, male, they get pinned up as pen pals together. And they obviously find out that they are not male, male, female, female, whatever. And so they are writing letters. They write letters for 7 years. And they're basically like in love, but they say they're never going to meet. They're never going to check social media. They're never going to look at pictures of each other because they don't want to ruin what they have. They don't think that if they meet, then it might ruin it. But one day at a party, Misha and Ryan meet. Misha realizes that it's Ryan, but Ryan doesn't know that she just met Misha. So Misha doesn't say anything. But then they end up going to the same school because Misha is trying to figure out something that I'm not going to say because I don't want to ruin it. And Ryan still doesn't realize that is Misha until closer to the end of the book. And they fall in love and, you know, usual romance stuff. Check trigger warnings. Check trigger warnings for all of these books, please. Because they're all going to be probably 18 plus, and a lot of them have some touchy subjects, so definitely trigger warnings. If you're sensitive to things like that, just do it, okay? This one, definitely feel like you should check trigger warnings. It's not as bad in this one, but definitely trigger warnings for Ugly Love. Definitely check trigger warnings for Hopeless as well. So these three definitely need to check trigger warnings for those. So I thought that I would switch it up after I read Punk 57. I was like, okay, I've read romance. Let's read not a romance. This is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I think that's how you say it. This book, I rated a 4 out of 5. This book was actually really, really good. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did because it is like a murder mystery. But it does have a little bit of romance in it, which I think is also why it kind of kept me interested. But this book is about 5 students who get detention. All of them walk out of detention except for one, Simon. He dies. That's not a spoiler because it literally says, like, in the beginning of the book and literally says in the description here that he dies. So basically the whole book is about them trying to figure out what happened to him because nobody knows what happened or who did it or anything like that. But yeah, this book is really good. It has, I'm not even going to say dual POV, it has multiple POVs because it has a POV of every person. Like all the main characters get their own chapters. But let's read you the inside. It says on Monday afternoon, 5 students at Bayview High walk into detention. Bronwyn, the brain, is a Yale-bound and never breaks a rule. Addie, the beauty, is the picture-perfect homecoming princess. Nate, the criminal, is already on probation for dealing. Cooper, the athlete, is the all-star baseball pitcher. And Simon, the outcast, is the creator of Bayview High's Notorious gossip app. Only Simon never makes it out of that classroom. Before the end of detention, Simon's dead. Sorry, that's not funny, but just the way it says it. And according to investigators, his death wasn't an accident. On Monday, he died, but on Tuesday, he'd planned to post juicy reveals about all 4 of his high-profile classmates, which makes all 4 of them suspects in his murder. Or are they just the perfect patsies for a killer who's still on the loose? Everyone has secrets, right? What really matters is how far you would go to protect them. This book is good. I need to get the second one to read it. This is definitely 4 out of 5 stars. Just, if you like murder mysteries, go read it. Next book I read was The Bride Test by Helen Huang. I don't really know how to say her last name, but this is the second book in a series. I don't know what the series called. The first book to The Bride Test is The Kiss Quotient. I read this as like one of the first books that I started reading. When I started reading again, I read this. And so I finally decided to read The Bride Test, and next I'm going to read The Heart Principle, which is the third one. But anyway, The Bride Test is about Kai and Esme. Kai has autism. His mom comes to Vietnam and meets Esme, and she wants Esme to come back to the United States to marry Kai. So it's like an arranged marriage, but she wants Kai to actually fall in love with Esme, and Esme wants Kai to fall in love with her. So Esme starts to love Kai, and Kai is just closed off because something happened in his past that kind of made him not want to feel love or feel emotions at all. So we learn to finally realize what happened to him that makes him so closed off, and yeah, this book is so good. So The Kiss Quotient follows Michael, who is Kai's cousin, and then this book's about Kai, and then The Heart Principle is going to be about Quan, which is Kai's older brother. So it's about 3 family members and their girls. But yeah, so this book was a 4 out of 5. I just didn't get super attached to the characters like I do in some of the books that I read, but it was really good. Okay, and the book that I technically didn't finish in February, but I finished today, Losing Hope by Colleen Hoover. So this is the second book in the Hopeless series, and this book is from Holder's point of view. So Hopeless was from Sky's point of view, and Losing Hope is from Holder's point of view. So these are kind of the same book, but from the different point of views. Honestly, I don't have a favorite. These are both amazing books, and honestly, just go read them all. I just love Holder, and I love Sky, and their story is beautiful to me. And yeah, so like I said, this book is basically just this book from his point of view, and you get more of his backstory in this book and what led him to certain things that I will not say because it will spoil both books. But you definitely need to read Hopeless before you read Losing Hope, because if you read Losing Hope, it's kind of gonna just spoil Hopeless. Hey y'all, Kenzie here on voiceover. My map decided to cut out, so I'm doing the outro like this. Basically, I was just saying that I had a very good reading month with 8 books. 8 books is really good for me because I am a full-time college student. That means I do not get much time to read. I just want everyone to know to not be discouraged with how many books you read per month. If you read 1 book, that's great. If you read 20 books, that's amazing. 5 books is great too. But all of these books were so good. I want you guys to let me know down below what books you read in February, because I really want some more book recommendations. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like, and comment. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And I love you all so much. Bye. Find a way to live and love without boundary. It's so good. So it's about, obviously, Sky and Holder. His name's Dean Holder, but he goes by Holder. Her name's Sky. He basically, something happens in his past that basically destroys him, and he doesn't want to talk about it. And she is homeschooled for 7 years by herself. And she's homeschooled, and then he finds her in a grocery store, thinks he knows her. They fall in love. Plot twist happens. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to ruin this book because it's so good. But please read this book. Read it. It's so good. Okay, so after that book, I was like, I need something a little more lighthearted because that book literally crushed my heart and then put it back together. But I needed something lighthearted. So I read The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Obviously, I'm sure all of you know, if you are into books, that this was going around on TikTok for a long time. And it's about Olive and Adam Carlson. Olive is in the STEM. She's a third-year PhD candidate in STEM. And she's a third-year PhD candidate as a STEM, in the STEM, and she tells